What is going on, everybody? It is Friday, May the 13th, and that means it's time for my news radar. And let's start off the show pretty much in the place where we will end the show, and that is with Google I/O 2022. This event has officially come and gone. To those of you who tuned in during my over 2-hour long live stream of this event, thank you so much for having done so. It was a fun time for all to be had. In this episode of News Radar, I'm going to go over all of the hardware that was announced. The show started off with over an hour of software. Okay, they talked about all manner of Google software that was a little on the not exciting side, but then the hardware came and there was some cool stuff there to be had. So without further ado and more introing, let's talk about that hardware. So the first thing that they did in fact announce would be the Google Pixel 6a. Now this thing had been rumored and leaked and rumored for weeks and months ahead of this event, but now we know for sure, for real, that this thing is coming. It is coming for $449 on July the 28th. Pre-orders are opening up on July the 21st. Of course, we've got this lovely little trailer video for it. Of course, it is running the Google Tensor chip. You've got a pair of 12 megapixel cameras. You're going to get the Magic Eraser and all sorts of cool Google software stuff built in there as well. 6 gigs of RAM, 128 storage. They're claiming 24-hour battery life on a 4306 milliamp hour battery. No wireless charging, but there is fast charging of some sort. Sadly, the screen is a 60 hertz display covered in Corning Gorilla Glass 3, so a little bit on the meh side there. I believe this thing is made of mostly recycled aluminum, so it should be relatively durable despite the fact that we're not getting Victus glass on the cover display. I like the fact that the camera bump itself is still present from the Pixel 6. You'll notice that really the entire design aesthetic is pretty much the same as on the 6 and the 6 Pro, but of course you're losing that periscope camera, and the camera sensor is dropping down, like I said, to that 12 megapixel lens. There's a lot to like about the 6A, okay? So here's sort of the spec sheet. I've talked about some of these things already, but I'll kind of leave it here on screen for you to look at for a moment as I talk through it. For $449, this thing is a pretty competitive device as far as I'm concerned. I think that this thing looks very solid. You got to consider that it's competing against something like the iPhone SE, which I believe is $429. So the price is very, very similar there. Of course, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. I do think that it looks pretty solid. Kind of insanely here, they gave an early sneak peek at the Pixel 7 and 7 Pro as well. And you'll notice this camera bump now looks a bit different. It is fully recycled aluminum encasing, nesting that camera sensor inside, which should add to some durability, but also just kind of looks a little bit weird. They didn't share many details about the 7 and 7 Pro. It's coming this fall. Of course, it's going to be running a next-gen version of Google's Tensor chipset, and really that's about all that we know. Odd that they went ahead and showed this to us so early with such little they could tell us. But there it is. There's the 7 and the 7 Pro. Several different colors already shown to be coming. For some reason, these make me think of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It's something about their headband across their eyes, with their eyes poking out there. I'm probably out of my mind, but that's what it reminds me of. Android 13 will be on the 7 as well as the 6A at launch. After that, we got to look at the Pixelbuds Pro. They are coming on the 21st of July as well for $199. Multi-point pairing, so you can have them paired to your phone. You move to your laptop and they'll just transition over. It's a great feature that I would love to see on more things. Spatial audio is coming. Real-time translation is something we've seen on Pixel headsets in the past. That's quite a good thing as well. Battery life up to 11 hours with 7 hours if you're using ANC. I had no idea, but apparently ANC was not a thing on prior Pixelbuds. It kind of blows my mind, but ANC is coming with the Pixelbud Pros. You have several different color options here as well. I think that the coral, charcoal, they all look quite good actually. I think these buds look unique and pretty decent. And we have our little trailer here for them as well, kind of promoting in general, as you'll see on this video and through this this conference, if you will, just this general idea of a Google ecosystem. You know, you've got that good phone now that you finally, a full flagship phone, more flagship phones coming. You've got the Pro earbuds coming. You've got, as we'll talk about in just a moment, a watch coming as well, and a tablet, which was teased towards the end as well as all of that. So the Pixel Watch, it is real. Fitbit tracking is there, as we've talked about on this channel, coming up to this for weeks ahead. Continuous heart rate monitoring, sleep tracking coming this fall alongside Pixel 7. We don't have a price. We don't have anything, but pretty much that. We just know that there's a watch. This is what it looks like, and it is coming this fall. Really adding to this Google ecosystem that they're trying to build. And last but not least, they teased a tablet, and they showed us almost nothing but pretty much this. It's a tablet. It's coming sometime next year is what they're hoping. They said it'll be the most helpful tablet ever made, whatever that means. Personally, I think it just looks like a Google Home Hub that you have torn the screen off of. And that is why my conspiracy theory is that it will come with a dock. I have absolutely no intel about this at all, but you cannot tell me that that is not effectively the same thing as that. And it would make sense, right? You've got your Google tablet, and then when you're done using it, you drop it onto a base station like that. Maybe it's magnetic or something, and it turns into the world's greatest home hub assistant speaker. Again, this is simply a conspiracy theory. I have no proof of this other than intuition. And as we play their last little trailer that they did release, let's kind of talk for a moment about this Google ecosystem. Apple has something very potent. You have the Apple Watch, the Apple phone, the Apple tablet, the Apple laptop, the Apple desktop. And once you're in that ecosystem and you're bought into the software, you're bought into the hardware, it's hard to get out. And you can't tell me for 1 second that while Android people and Google might complain about that, not that Google's directly complained about that, but you know what I mean. You can't tell me that they're not jealous of it, that they're not going to try to do the same thing. Samsung is trying to do the same thing. They've got all the same stuff as well. Google is very much pushing in that same direction. They would love to see you decked out Google head to toe, right? They've got Chromebooks now. They got their laptops that they do in fact make with their Chrome OS Chromebooks. They've got the earbuds. They've got the watch. They put in a tablet, phones, watches. They've got everything now as well, and they're really making a big push here in terms of software to make these things more ubiquitous. So they talked about, a little bit in the software early on. They talked about some synergistic things where you could copy text on one device and pick it up on the next device. Go to your tablet and paste that stuff over there. This is very Apple-like stuff. They're playing catch up with what Apple has. And fair enough, that's what they should be doing. They should be trying to compete directly with Apple. And that is, in fact, exactly what they were doing. Now, while I think overall their conference, Google I/O 2022, was a little bit on the boring side to start because it was so much software in the beginning and it was a lot of stuff that's like, okay, Google has this habit of showing a lot of crazy stuff. Like, you remember someone mentioned in my comments, forget who this was, but someone said, you remember when the assistant was supposed to be able to make reservations for you like a year or two ago? Like, that never happened. Google has a bad habit of announcing a bunch of software at I/O that just never manifests itself. So you're kind of like, okay, this is cool, I guess. But you just kind of roll through it. But then when they got to the hardware, I got to tell you, I must admit, the hardware all looked very solid, and it's all got that Google aesthetic. And I think they're getting much, much better now at everything having a unifying aesthetic, which is something Apple has been great at. And I think it's something that Samsung probably needs to improve a bit on. Apple stuff all looks like Apple stuff. Google stuff all looks like Google stuff. And that's actually more important than a lot of people may realize. Guys, that is all the news I have for you today. As usual, massive shout out and a massive thanks to all of my YouTube members. The fact that you guys and gals have chosen to directly help this channel like you have means so much to me. Thank you so much for that. I will see you all on the next one. And until next time, stay nerdy, my friends.